Hey folks, Big Woodsman here. Today we're going to be making a survival camp tool. So today we're going to be working inside the shop because, well, this summer has been an absolute scorcher. It is so bloody hot out this summer. It's got to be 1,000 degrees out. So we're going to work in the shop because it's way cooler. So today we got a project that we're going to be making. It shouldn't take us too long, maybe a couple hours tops. It's going to be a really cool survival tool that you can throw on the back of the backpack, take it wherever you want. May just save your life someday. So let's see what we get into. So what we're going to be making today is going to be a tripod sort of grill holder. It's just going to be a simple chunk of aluminum. So a couple pieces of what we need today, some tools. We have our rough drafting paper. We have our protractor because we need to measure out some angles. We have our piece of aluminum. We have just under a 1/4 inch thick aluminum plate. We got it off another project we salvaged it from. Some clamps, cordless drill with our hole saw, and we're going to put this together. So the first thing we need to do is draw out our basic design of our triangle piece with our 3 holes. So in order to make a perfect triangle, first thing we're going to do is we're going to put a dot in the center of our paper. Put the center of our protractor on that dot. We're going to mark out 120 degrees, 240 degrees, and 360 degrees. And that's going to give us a perfect triangle. So that's basically dissecting a circle into exactly 3 even segments. We're going to have 3 perfect pointed triangle. So now the next thing we're going to do is connect our dots. Using our straight edge. We don't care how long these are. So now since we went through from our center of our circle, we measured out 3 inches, we put a dot, we went 3 inches on each one of the lines, we put an intersecting line across. We're looking at this perfect triangle, however it looks a little skinny for what we're planning on doing in future. So I think what I'm going to do is at these intersecting points is put a 90-degree angle across, 1 inch wide on each one of these tips, and then connect those, and that'll give us a bit more distance. Now let's go ahead and connect those. That's going to work much better. So I'm going to go ahead and cover that over with Sharpie so you can actually see it. So now that we have our perfect triangle, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to intersect between the center hole and the outside edge, which we said was 3 inches. We're going to mark out 1.5 inches. And that's where we're going to end up drilling our holes. So now I've drawn on 3 holes on those intersecting lines at 1.25 inch diameter. So it's perfectly even triangle no matter which way you spin it. This is why it's nice to use a protractor instead of just freehanding it. So now we're going to cut that out and we're going to transfer that onto our aluminum piece. So here's our aluminum stock. We're going to set our piece on the aluminum stock. Might as well use one of these straight edges to help us cut this out. All we're going to do is transfer this onto this stock. I can hear Jackson in the background. He wants to help. So now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to get our grinder wheel out and we're going to cut this whole thing out. So now we've got our angle grinder with our cut wheel. We just need our hearing protection and eye protection, and we're ready to start slicing this out. So now we have our triangle roughly cut out from our aluminum stock. You can see it meets our qualifications nicely. Now it's got some burrs on the edges, so we could go ahead and we could put that on the belt sander with the blue oxide belt, but it's just aluminum, so we'll probably do it by hand with just a simple file, clean up the edges, round them a little bit so they're nice and smooth. Jackson, what do you think? Does it meet your approval? Does it meet your approval? Say sure does. Jackson approved. So now that we have our aluminum stock, nice and smooth, edges not sharp, burrs all taken off, we're going to transfer our markings from our paper template onto our aluminum stock of where we need to drill our holes. So we got our center punch, and we're going to be using our hammer that we made in grade 9 shop. And now we've transferred our holes into our stock, and this is where we're going to set up for our drilling. So we got our aluminum stock clamped onto the table, and now we've got our hole saw, and we're going to be cutting 1 1/8 inch hole right where these 3 points are, not in the center. Now because this is aluminum, it should cut pretty easily. So now we're almost done. One of the last steps we have to do is drill an 1/8 inch hole right in the very center. Yikes. Let's try that again. That's better. Done. So the last piece of the project is we're going to have to put a hook sort of that hangs right through the center of this. So I found this piece of brace wire. It's pretty heavy gauge wire. It's already got the starting of a hook. We're going to rebend this and sort of get this into a proper hook, cut it off, and then we're going to peen the end of it. And by peening it, I'm going to show you what that means. Basically going to create a rivet end on the end of this wire. So there's our little J hook. Now we have to stick this in the vise and peen the end of it right on the top. So here's what we have. We have our piece of brace wire. The J is inside the jaws of the vise. We've taken our soft jaws out. We've taken and put in this little washer over top, and that's going to give us a bearing surface so we can mushroom the head of that down. So what we're going to be using is our ball peen hammer. This is called the peen, and it's made for basically creating round head rivets. So we're going to go ahead and we're just going to slowly tap this, working around in circles. Hopefully you can see that. It's created a nice flat round head. Now when we take it out, the washer is going to slide off the other side and it'll slot right in our piece. Let's try that and see if it works. So it turns out the wire hook that we were using, the brace wire, was too soft. It's not going to peen worth a crap. It's just going to end up falling out. It's not going to do the trick. So we got one of these fence latches that's absolutely perfect. We've opened up the end and we're going to put that in through and we're going to peen it right inside this piece itself. So we're going to use that as the solid washer. So the first thing we do is cut this off, set it in, and let's peen that. So there, now we have it locked in the vise. We've got this protruding just about 1/8 of an inch. Jackson agrees. Okay, so here's our tripod pot holder for your survival fire, wilderness camping, whichever. It's got 3 holes in it, perfectly aligned at 120 degrees. We've taken this piece, we've peened the end of it so it's got a nice round head on it, and it's got a hook on the bottom. The whole thing weighs maybe a couple ounces, so very light. You can hang it off your pack. Okay, so I'm going to show you roughly how this works. So here's our tripod holder. So normally when you're out in the woods, you would cut 3 saplings. And when you put 3 saplings up through each one of the holes, it'll act as a tripod and hold it nice and level. It's got a hook on the bottom. So here's our camp pots. We take off our lid or handled soft pan, set that aside. We got our secondary tray. Gonna set that aside. Now, if you need emergency to boil water, survival situation, here's your hook. That now hangs directly from your tripod piece. And now you can boil water over your fire with perfectly suspended from your tripod. So there you are, folks. There's our survival tripod holder. Very simple build. I think I'm gonna make 2 or 3 of these because, wow, they're just a fantastic tool to have. Very simple, very easy, effective. So the next video, I'm gonna take this outside. I'm gonna show you actually live how it works, putting the actual saplings through it, starting a fire. Unfortunately, we got a fire ban in this area because it's been so bloody dry and hot. So we can't start a fire today, can't show you how this works, so you'll have to stay tuned for the next video. So remember, there's life out there in the woods. I'll see you out there in it.